Transformative Tuesday here. This is day 50 for me. I was looking back at sort of the beginning of COVID-19 and the lockdown, or the order to stay at home, and the fear that I felt at that point in time. It was pretty crippling. I wasn't sure what was going to come. It felt pretty dark, and I felt pretty afraid, truly, of the unknown. And of course, 50 days later, we know that, for me, I thought we were going to be in lockdown, as in military lockdown. So I was sort of, at the worst or doomsday of it all. And over the last 50 days have learned, obviously, that we're adapting to a new way of doing things at this point in time. So whether or not we will always have to be in a lineup to go into the grocery store, have to be separated, and or if there will be a point in time when things will be a little bit more regular than they seemingly are, being that at this point in time there things like masks and gloves are now mandatory in some places, and understanding that when I do go out for essentials or whatever, and I see people doing their lives, that so much has changed. There is a calmness out there, where the frenziness is less intense, if you will, although I can feel that sort of energy in the air. And certainly what I was feeling yesterday was that sort of anxiety and friction in the fragmented places. So that wasn't so fun, and I didn't really enjoy that, but I am glad that I continue to just dial myself in over and over again to, okay, so what am I learning here, and what am I open to, and what can I, if I'm closed, what can I open to? Standing in that place of curiosity and really wanting to look at things from all aspects, like really understanding something by looking at it from all directions and taking the time to do so, and noticing that the feelings are up, like I'm feeling this in my body. I'm feeling this aggression and this low grade that's going on. Instead of being upset at myself because I'm in that state, being curious about why I'm in that state, what's going on for me behind that, and then giving myself the space in the room to figure that out. Because I think quite often, I dial myself into, well, why don't you know the answers? And you should know by now. And you know these things, so why can't you do it? And. But unfortunately, what that does is further down the spiral of not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy, not feeling like I'll ever get it right, which is exactly against what I'm trying to create here, which is a loving, kind, nurturing, intimate relationship with myself. So as I do that, I'm going to just learn that I'm going to continually give myself the grace. Just because I didn't get it today, I got a little something a little bit more to dial myself into towards what it is that I say that I want. And so when I had my coaching call this morning, my nutritional coaching call, I was coming with, well, I did pretty good, but not 100%. And here's where I'm at today, and the car accident yesterday, and no cable and no internet, and da-da-da-da, all the stuff that was happening to me. But the question she asked put me in a completely different state of mind. What went well for you? Oh, okay. Hang on a second. Right. Get into that positive mode. That part of me that really does exist in that gratitude place, instead of the frenzied, all this stuff is happening, and now I feel heightened and afraid and in resistance to, and done to, and victimized and righteous, in the I know that I'm in the right, and waking up with residue on me, like that stuff gets in us, it gets on us and in us, and it starts to be fruitful because it takes root, and it gets grounded in the vibration of that. And so this today has been a practice of noticing, understanding, I can feel it. My back is just solidly tight. And when my body is in reaction like that or in response like that, there's something going on. So allowing myself the ability to take a look at it and see what it is that is going on for me. So I did a lot of writing today. And, in all fairness, some stuff came and other stuff did not. And allowing myself to be okay with that. Did several meditations today. One was just before the insurance call and needing to talk to the third-party insurance broker in regards to my mom's claim. Claimed with ICBC yesterday was a pretty straightforward conversation on the phone. Everything seemed to be moving, but I'm also in that anxiety mode of, oh God, I'm pretty sure that I wasn't at fault, in the idea of I wasn't distracted driving. I wasn't driving aggressively. I was, I was just obeying what I believe to be good driving practices. And yet I attracted myself this accident. So what is it about me that attracted this experience? What is it that I need to bump up against to learn? And then, of course, in that place of, well, what if I get held some level of responsibility around my part in this monetarily, and have an expectation that the onus is somewhat on me. So heading into that call this morning, just talking to my mom, and she just said, hey, are you aware that the energy that you're putting out is sort of static? And I hadn't realized, because I had convinced myself that I sort of let it go, but I hadn't actually ritualistically done that. So I could think that, but I hadn't processed it yet. And so when she brought it into my experience, I went, oh, right, okay, you know what? I'm going to get myself into better space in order to make that call, because if I make it right now, I'm liable to be agitated. I'm liable to be snippy, which isn't my intention in making that phone call. My intention is to create a solution. But if I go in with that energy and that static, then I'm likely going to create some sort of positive polarization of that, and then things turn left, hard left, and they don't work out the way that I intend them to. So when I can get clear about what my intention is, and I can go from that place, so clearing the energy intentionally, doing an actual meditation that was about surrender and release, and then working my way through my body, trying to get myself into that place where I could just let it go. Let it be whatever it is, surrender it. So I feel like I, was able to reduce some of the residue that was on me. I was able to mentally gain clarity around what it is that I wanted. And then I was able to let go of some of the feelings around that, about the righteousness of, well, I wasn't in the wrong and she did this and la la la. And instead of being in that mode, being in these are the facts from my point of view. So A plus B plus C equals D. Instead of, being in the emotion of all of that. So that phone call actually went really well. And as a result, she put in a request to find out about the liability from ICBC's point of view. Within a couple hours, she had a response that at this point in time, which can change, but at this point in time, they have deemed the accident 100% the other driver's responsibility. So that was sort of that relief in the surrendering of what will be, will be. And if it changes, it changes. I can't do anything about what happens here or here. I can only do with what happens here. And so in this moment, in that moment, I was very celebratory in the idea that I had surrendered and released the outcome and allowed whatever to transpire. But it was because I cleaned up my energy. And then, later on in the day, talking or writing about it was about telling the truth and journal about a time when you were lied to. Well, I could journal for weeks, apparently, on when I've been lied to or betrayed or stolen from in my lifetime. But the one that came up today was this stuff about staying in a position, in a job that I stayed with for, probably 15 years, in a place that was incongruent about the way that they supported me. And so behind the scenes, everything was okay. And, I got a lot of kudos and recognition. But when I went to move forward in my growth standpoint and start to own my leadership in that, I was deemed as, there was just a ceiling there. I don't know how else to explain it. It was a toxic work environment, but I stayed there because I really loved the work and I really loved the people that I got to work with. But unfortunately, because I succumbed to this lie, effectively of living under this umbrella of, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'll never get past, what you say I'm worth, no matter what I do to try and earn it, even though I definitely deserve it. And even though I was utilized in ways that utilize my gifts without paying for my talent. That's the truth about that. And I stayed there for so long, and it became a soul-sucking experience, unfortunately. So, and I didn't know to leave. I didn't know that I could, for one. I didn't know where else to go. And it wasn't until things got really clearly out of alignment with my morals, my values, certainly the 15 years of work that I had done up until that point in time in my own healing journey and contributing to thousands and thousands of other people, many, 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 many hours of my life, my time, my coaching skills, my ability to read people, my ability to interact with people and mediate, all of those talents that are mine that I grew through that experience, I didn't realize I could take with me. I always thought that I had to stay there because it meant something, and that as long as I was there and attached to that thing, that I had worth and meaning, because I could see the outcome of the work that I was doing, and understanding today that I literally stayed embedded in a lie. And it was so grandiose and it was so warped and murky that I lost myself in there somewhere. That somewhere in there, it became so evident to me that I could never grow past a certain point, that I kept myself under that certain point to keep myself safe and okay, which in my mind today is so ludicrous. It is so crazy that anyone would do that, let alone me. And that was what I felt was the only thing that I was worth. It was like staying in an abusive relationship for way too long, understanding that I really wanted to go, that I knew that there was something else, that I really desired to be doing something else bigger, that I knew that I was called to do something else, but not knowing how to get out of the box that I felt I was put in, and not feeling the worthiness just to lift the lid. And so for a long time, I played small and I played insignificant, and I took scraps when I deserved a meal at the table. I took scraps when I deserved a meal at the table. And so today, coming to that realization that I bore all of that for so long, that I indicated to myself my worth was somehow less than, that by contributing in the ways that I did and continue to do in service to my community, and growing the love and capacity of inclusion, and then coming to a place in time when that was out of balance. There was some kind of incongruence with that, and not understanding how to leave and still love it and be okay with that. And so it's been a heck of a journey to get to this place in time where I understand better that I'm worth so much more than I give myself credit for, or that I have given myself credit for, and that ultimately I get to choose what that looks like from now on. So today, I understand that I'm switching from learning to transformation. Life is a lifelong transformation process, and learning is something that we can forget. But transformation means that we actually change the way that we do something to the degree where it can no longer change back. Learning is on paper, and transformation is internal. And so today I celebrate another day of transformation, another day of being able to connect with you, another day where I got to plant some things in my yard and ready, my space a little more, one thing at a time, in order to create the abundance and the wealth and the rich life that I want to experience, just by experiencing it, by all the stuff that's around me, by creating that, by designing that. And so today I got a little glimpse and a little bit closer to understanding those things and understanding that the lies that I have told myself or been told are no longer true for me. They're no longer something that I actually resonate with, and therefore I get to remove them and take those things out of the picture because it was one way, but it no longer needs to look like that because I get to choose and I get to decide. So what is it that you're deciding today? What is it something that you can decide about your life so you can dial yourself a little bit further in to what it is that you say that you want? Total love and respect out there. I hope you're being safe and well, healthy, kind. See you tomorrow.